It's Talking Sports with CJ and Fonz on SportsSlamRadio.com. It's sports, hardcore, and fully uncensored. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Talking Sports with CJ and Fonz on this November 14th night on SportsSlamRadio.com. Huge show ahead of us tonight. We got three-time baseball all-star Brett Boone coming on the show. But first, I want to welcome to the program the Fonz.
What's going on?
Just getting over, still freaking hungover from that Bears loss on Sunday night. Awful.
What an ugly game.
Yeah, when Cutler went down, that was it. Jason Campbell, boy, he's the king of checkdowns. I mean, what was he, 2-yard passes?
It seems like every big game, like either the Cutler doesn't come up big or he leaves the game injured. I'm just saying.
Here we go.
Saying.
Those two picks he threw.
Does that not happen?
Well, those two picks he threw were huge. I mean, especially you're in field goal range, you take the points. He's always trying to squeeze it in there in tight windows. He's always trying to get it to Brandon Marshall. And defenses are going to check out, and they're going to catch on. That Marshall's their number one target when no one else is freaking contributing. You know?
Yeah, but I would have liked to see him play the second half and saw how the game would have wound up. I think maybe the Bears may have won that game.
I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe we'll see them again in the Super Bowl. That's all I'm going to say.
Probably not.
Well, if you guys want to call in the program tonight, the number is 727-493-2055. And I want to jump into the Bears-Texans a little more. The Texans, they had 4 takeaways. That was big. They wanted any team that usually wins a takeaway battle in the NFL usually wins the football game. But one thing on the good side on the Bears' part, the Texans were only held to 215 yards of offense, Fonz. 95 yards passing.
That's one thing about the Bears. You know their defense is always going to come to play.
And there was questionable calls in that game. I mean, was Jennings down? Remember when Briggs bumped into him and he was down? Was he really down on that play? Because he took it to the house. And then, you remember the play I'm talking about?
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, to me, being a biased Bears fan, maybe I'd say he wasn't down, but it's hard to say. It was inconclusive. The initial call, he was down. They weren't going to reverse it. There wasn't enough evidence. So, and Kellen Davis is a terrible tight end. How are you starting a tight end in the NFL when you can't block or catch? I mean, how's that happen?
Why did they get rid of Greg Olsen? I don't get that.
Oh, that was Jerry Angelo, dumbass. Trading Olsen because, quote, he didn't fit Martz's offense when Jerry Angelo wasn't figuring that Martz was probably not going to be there after this year, after that yeyear.
Not only that, Olsen had 2 touchdowns on the same day.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you now. We talked about this game. Texans are now, 8-1. Bears fall to 7-2. Did the Texans make a statement on Sunday Night Football? Are they the team to beat in the NFL?
Anytime you go on the road and win in the NFL, it's a big thing. Especially in Soldier Field, Chicago, but the Bears didn't have their quarterback, so it's a good win, yes, but a statement victory, not really, just because of the fact that Cutler didn't play the second half.
And I totally agree, and the hit was dirty. The player, I forgot his last name, he's a backup linebacker for the Texans, got fined $30 grand today, and he said he said Cutler leaned into him, and it's a bunch of crap. It was dirty. He launched at him, hit him helmet to helmet. It was a dirty hit.
Yeah. If the pocket doesn't break down again, maybe Cutler didn't have to scramble out and take that hit, but that's what happened is the nature of the game.
And, Cutler might not play Monday night, and I'm going to give Jason Campbell the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he came in cold against a great defense. He didn't get many reps during the week with the first team. Now he's going to probably get a lot of first-team reps. And we'll see what he does Monday night because I have a feeling he is going to be the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears Monday night.
And that's going to depend on who I pick because if Cutler plays, I'm definitely taking Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then I have to lean towards the Niners.
I might have to agree with you.
Another big game past Sunday was undefeated Falcons went to New Orleans,
Big
game. They lost to the Saints. They got their first loss of the year, but going into the game, the Falcons were talking mad shit, I'll say. They were talking a lot of junk. But the Saints have won 11 of the last 13 versus Atlanta. Coach Mike Smith is 2-7 versus the Saints now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, even though Atlanta's having a better year, they still know deep down that their older brother is gonna, have their way with them, and that's what happened. Caught up to them, all the trash talk they were spewing out.
And I agree. And Roddy White talked crap, saying he hated the Saints' helmets, the colors, even the city. And like you said about Mike Smith, he's 2-7 versus the Saints, but he's 49-15 against the rest of the league.
Yeah, I saw that. So, but they were close, and they had the ball, like I think it was on the 2-yard line, 1 or 2 yards,
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't score the go-ahead touchdown. So I'm going to be anxious to watch the game when they go back to Atlanta.
Oh, it's going to be a big game. And the big play in that game was, did you see Jabari Greer's breakup of Roddy White's pass in the end zone to Roddy White? Huge play.
Down, that was awesome.
And the Saints now, what? They're 4-5 after an 0-4 start, and they go to Oakland next week, which should be a win. So they're right back in the hunt, New Orleans.
Yeah, if they can get to 5-5, it's a brand new season for them, And, they just have to take care of business. But they're a dangerous team. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs, I'll tell you that much.
No, I agree. And Atlanta is, I had to say, they were the most overrated 8-0 team in NFL history. They should have lost to the Raiders. They should have lost to Carolina at home. I mean,
yeah.
I just don't think they're a championship team. I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving enough respect to the Atlanta Falcons, but I just truly think they don't. They're great. They're a good team. I don't want to say great, but I don't know 8-0. I mean, they had an easy schedule, and the Saints beat them.
One thing that's going to haunt them is their run defense and their rushing attack in general. Rushing offense and defense is their weak point. Michael Turner is he's not Michael DeBurna Turner anymore. He's an average average running back at best.
Oh no, I agree. His career's gone down sour the last couple years or so. He's not the same great back he was when he first signed with Atlanta, that big contract. But moving along to the Steelers, and they got some troubles now. I mean, on the bright side, they've won 4 straight. They're 6-3. They're right there in the division race. On the bad side, Big Ben might not be playing Sunday night. Actually, I think he's been told he's not playing, and Byron Leftwich is going to be the quarterback against a great Raven team, their rival, on Sunday Night Football. And the Steelers on Monday night played terrible. They trailed 10-0. They got fortunate enough to beat a bad Chiefs team. And Big Ben was just, slammed to the ground. And I don't know if you saw it, Hines Ward came out saying that this Steelers team has no chance at winning if Big Ben doesn't play. Do you agree with Hines Ward?
Yeah, 100%. Roethlisberger's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's been to 3 Super Bowls.
Right.
He's an elite quarterback in this league. It's Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Manning, and then Roethlisberger.
I don't think Leftwich can throw a ball over 40 yards. He's got no arm, that guy.
And that was a fumble, not for nothing, when the Chiefs picked it up and ran it in the end zone.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing.
Chiefs should have won that game. Steelers have no chance. And it comes at the worst time because they played Baltimore 2 out of the next 3 games.
Wow. And we don't know this. Big Ben might miss more than 1 game.
And I heard that the injury his rib, came close to piercing his aorta or something.
Yeah, I
he
saw
could have
something.
died. He could have died on the field.
Jesus. Yeah, football's become a rough game, and guys are just getting bigger and stronger. And look at Big Ben. We're talking about a big quarterback. We're not talking about a small, like a Drew Brees type quarterback. Big Ben's he's a big boy.
Nobody of all those elite quarterbacks I mentioned, nobody extends a play like Roethlisberger does.
No.
I don't understand how he moves in the pocket so well. He moves around just like he did in the Super Bowl versus the Cardinals on that last drive to win it. He's a great quarterback, an underrated great quarterback. Think about it. If he ever gets his 3rd Super Bowl, he's right up there with everybody.
Right.
With Aikman and Brady.
He wins.
There's not too many quarterbacks with 3 Super Bowl rings. His first season, he was 15-1.
And when the Steelers when they lost to Tennessee, it was a Thursday night game. They were 2-3 at that point, and then they lost to the Raiders. I can't remember if that was a week before or a week after. I said they were done at 2-3. This team's aging. The Ravens are so damn good, and now they're right there. They're right in the hunt.
Yeah, but now with this Roethlisberger injury, I don't see them winning a game without him.
Yeah, no, Leftwich is pretty bad. I wouldn't want him quarterback in my football team.
And who's their 3rd string, Charlie Batch?
Is he still in the league? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So a lot of quarterbacks got injured Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Alex Smith's injury and Michael Vick too. I don't know if you saw the replay. Like, he threw the ball and he's backing up and then he just falls. Like, I don't know what the hell happened to him.
He's hurt every week.
But I feel bad for Vic. I like him. I just think I don't know. But he's got the concussion now, so he's been ruled out of the game. Nick Foles is going to take over 3-6. The Eagles are.
Yep, they're done. They're a bad football team.
They got to play Washington. Right now, it's just a matter of, is Andy Reid gonna last the whole season?
Oh yeah.
And
I think he will.
I think he will. Something's telling me they're gonna win this game versus Washington Sunday.
At this point, it doesn't matter. They're done. I mean, they watched them. That's a bad football team. Nick Foles, though.
Yeah, but you know what, though, Crom?
What?
They're only 2 games out of first.
Yeah, right, because the Giants have been struggling, but they're a bad football team. That was a bad game. Them in Dallas are terrible. Overrated Dallas every year. And Philly's done. I think at this point, you play Nick Foles, let him see what he can do. The season's basically, I mean, you got to basically, to make the playoffs in the NFC, you're going to win 10 games. That means they got to run the table. They're not going to win. That football team is not winning 7 in a row.
Not only that, yeah, you're right. Romo didn't win that game. It was a defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown. Right? Didn't they score on defense to the Cowboys?
Yeah, they did. And
I forgot what happened. What was it, a fumble recovery?
Trying to think. I saw that game too. I saw so much football this weekend. I believe it might have been a fumble recovery, but Dallas didn't show me much. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. And Philly, there's gonna be a lot of changes in Philly.
You don't think Dallas is making the playoffs?
Nah, the NFC's too stacked. I still think the Giants are going to win the division. I know they're struggling. I still think they're the best team in the division. They got the best quarterback in the division. I think one team will make the playoffs out of that division, and it will be the Giants. They'll win the division. I don't think Dallas is making it. And
so who are your 2 wild card teams then?
Well,
maybe the Saints and Packers?
Definitely the Packers. Bears will get in from the NFC, from that division. Giants from the East. I'm going to say, yeah, Atlanta, one team from the West. I don't think Seattle will get in. I think, San Francisco wins the division. Seattle, no. Yeah, I think it's going to come.
What do you mean? No, Seattle might get the wild card.
I think New Orleans is going to sneak in. I know I wrote them off at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to get that 6th seed.
It's going to be like Seattle, New Orleans.
What about Tampa Bay?
Tampa, like, it's going to be a mad rush for that last spot.
Yeah, I mean, but John Gruden, I mean, he'll be coaching the Eagles. He'll love to groom Nick Foles. I think he'll be the coach next year. Reid is done, but Reid will be coaching somewhere next year. There's definitely going to be jobs open. Plenty. I'm hearing maybe up to 6 or 7 coaching vacancies next season, and Reid will be coaching. I think he'll coach next year. I really do, for a different team.
Yeah, he's the type of guy who I don't see him. First off, he definitely won't do TV analysts, and I don't see him sitting on the sidelines if he didn't miss a practice when his son died. So no. I don't see him sitting at home waiting.
He's still a good football coach. It's just, it's done. Philly, I mean, it's done. I mean, he's been there a long time, and the team is, the last 2 seasons, what hurt him was that team spending all that money and not performing. I mean, calling them the dream team, and I mean, they're bad. I mean, they're a bad football team, and they're not going anywhere this season. No playoffs for Philly. No way.
All right, well, let's move on to college now if we can.
Oh, yeah. Big upsets.
One guy I was hyping all week, I told you, Johnny Football.
Yep, you did. That'll give you.
Texas A&M shocks #1 Alabama, who you said, oh, could they beat an NFL team? They can't beat an 18-year-old freshman. They're not going to beat an NFL team.
Oh wait, we got a call coming in. Oh, we lost it. I thought we had a call. Yeah, whoever it is, call back. You're on the phone with Talking Sports with CJ and Fonz. How can we help you?
CJ, man.
Who's this?
You want me to call? This is D Black.
What's going on, man?
Nothing, man. You know, I'm sitting here listening to your radio show. I'm hearing you talk about the NFC picture, you know, the playoff picture for the NFC and AFC. You know, I'm liking what you're saying and everything, but, you know, I heard you talk about the Eagles, man. What about the Bears?
Uh-oh. I'm telling you, the Bears are still going to the Super Bowl. I'm saying it right now, and I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'm telling you, the Bears are going. They're going to surprise people. It's 1 loss. They haven't lost in 2 months. They're still. I'm not off the bandwagon yet. I'm telling you.
No, but I'm playing around with you. I totally agree with you. I'm not sure if the Eagles don't win this week. I'm already counting their season pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't win this week. They don't win this week. They're over. They need to blow up everything, start Foles, see what he has, and evaluate for next year. Because I don't think Nick Foles is the QB for the future either.
I would give him this season. I mean, he didn't show me a whole lot on Sunday. I know it's one game, but
yeah.
I would give him the season. I think Vic's time is done in Philly. They're not going to pick up a $16 million option on him next season. No, and I would give Foles a chance to prove himself, see what he can do, and then you make that decision in the end of the season. You decide maybe go free agency, try to draft a quarterback, move up in the draft. You know.
I say they try to make that major splash and see what they can do with Sean Payton if they're going to let Reed go.
Yeah, I mean, Reed's a great coach. It's just his welcome he's worn out his welcome, and the owner, Jeffrey Loria, said basically that they had to make the playoffs for him to keep his job, and they're not making the playoffs, so he's not keeping his job.
They're not going to make it right now.
No.
I'm an Eagles fan. I'm a true Eagles fan, but it doesn't look like it right now. If you can't block in this league, you're never going to get any touchdowns. You're never going to win a game.
No, I agree.
Already. Yeah, man. But definitely, I appreciate your show, man. I love your show.
All right, man. Thank you. Yep. Bye. Bonds?
Yep.
Oh, you're still, yeah. We had an angry, but Eagle fan. Basically giving up on the season, too, agreeing with us. But you go back to Johnny Football.
Oh, one other thing. Sean Payton definitely won't go to the Eagles. If he goes anywhere, it's going to be Dallas, but I don't see him not re-signing with the Saints.
Oh, no, I agree.
But Johnny Football, it looks like he just may have got his way into New York as a top 5 Heisman candidate with that victory.
No doubt about it.
And I heard he has to win the next 2 games, though, and put up some decent numbers, and he's in because, it's not really supposed to be a popularity contest, but, pretty much it is. So do you see him as like a Heisman finalist?
I agree he's going to make it to New York. As for winning, I'm still going with Colin Klein. If Kansas State keeps winning, they stay undefeated, he keeps putting these huge, big passing numbers up, Colin Klein will get the Heisman. As for Johnny Football, for a freshman to go on the road in Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, and against the number 1 defense in college football, it was impressive. And he put up a show, and, he's definitely in consideration, especially being a freshman. And Texas A&M has got a great quarterback the next couple of years.
Listen to this quick.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Klein, your favorite, has got 2,020 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Manziel, 2,780 yards, 18 touchdowns compared to Colin Klein's 12 touchdowns.
6 picks I see for Johnny Football, and his last 2 games are against Sam Houston State and Missouri, which might hurt him a little. Those are 2 bad teams. Not only that,
am I reading this right? Johnny Manziel has more rushing yards than Colin Klein and almost as many rushing touchdowns.
He's got 15 rushing touchdowns on the season, Johnny Football, and 1,014 rushing yards. So, yeah. It's impressive, but I think Colin Klein's done so much for Kansas State and are undefeated. If they keep winning and they stay undefeated, I still think he gets the Heisman because that plays a factor,
That's true, too, but I'd like to see the first ever freshman win it.
One team I was told we don't give any respect to out of the unbeatens is the Oregon Ducks. So we're going to talk Ducks football tonight. They've been impressive. They beat up on a lowly Cal team, 59-17. Marcus Mariota, school record.
What? For the Eagles fan, if he's still listening, I heard coach of the Oregon Ducks, Chip Kelly, is going to be the next Eagles coach.
No.
That's what I heard.
Really? He turned down the Bucks. He could have the Bucks job.
Right. I think he's going to go to Philadelphia. Maybe, give them the offense that they need.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But I'm telling you, Marcus Mariota tied a school record 6 touchdown passes for Oregon, and they were just lighting up Cal. Cal was down only 17-10 in the second quarter, and just Oregon put it on. So I'm going to ask you now, Oregon's number 1 in the AP poll. They're number 2 in the BCS. Are they the team to beat in college football right now with Alabama losing?
Yes. I don't see them. I don't see Oregon losing. And this is their year. They got Kenjon Barner, who's also a Heisman finalist. He's like the dark horse to win it. He's got 19 touchdowns, too, 20 overall. So I like Oregon a lot. I don't think they're going to lose in the regular season. I don't think they could beat Bama or Georgia or, they could beat Notre Dame and Kansas State. So they might win the whole thing.
I
Why
agree.
not?
I mean, yeah, their offense is. I mean, when you're scoring they're scoring over 40 points a game. Listen to this. They've scored at least 40 points a game for 13 straight games. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. But they are in the Pac-12, right?
Yep.
It's not exactly the best conference in the country.
No, I agree. SEC is. And I know you want to
Right.
talk about an SEC team you've been big on the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I brought up Georgia Bulldogs
Yeah.
because I think they're a more complete team than any team in the top 5. They had that bad loss to South Carolina. I don't know what happened that week.
Yeah, they were bad in
But
that game.
they got a great defense. They got my second favorite college football player, running back Todd Gurley, and that's just because of his name. And they're watching the scoreboard. After the game, they were all huddled around the Notre Dame-Pittsburgh game, hoping they would lose. But they're 9-1. You know, they're going to be heavily favored their next 2 games. They're playing Georgia Southern, Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to come down to the SEC title game.
Mm-hmm.
If they can beat Bama, you know, and if there's only if they can beat Bama, they'll be the best of the one-loss teams, so they could sneak in.
Right. They could. And they're going to need help, though. They're going to need 2 of the unbeatens to lose, which I don't know what's going to happen, though, you know?
I see Notre Dame losing.
Really? You think they're going to lose to USC?
I can't see them keeping up with USC's offense. I really can't.
I'll tell you who's really become a great quarterback for Georgia is Tampa's own Aaron Murray. He leads the SEC in passing efficiency, and he's 5th in the nation in passing efficiency. He's turned out to be a very good quarterback.
He is. At first, I didn't like him, but he's starting to win me over. He's very accurate. I couldn't believe how accurate he is when I watched him.
Well, we've talked about the unbeatens. I'm going to ask you, we're going through each game this week and see if you think they're going to stay unbeaten. And we're going to start with Stanford at Oregon. Big game in the Pac-12, big rivalry. Can they go and upset the Ducks in Eugene?
No.
I agree. No way, it's not happening.
Oregon puts up 40 again, 14th straight game, and they'll win like about 45-28.
They've converted 83% of their red zone. You know, when they're in the red zone, 83% of the time they score touchdowns. That's freaking impressive. I'm looking at that note. They're a dangerous football team, and there's no way Stanford has the offense to go. You have to have a great offense to go, you know, punch for punch with the Oregon Ducks. And my next game I'm going to ask you is number 2 Kansas State. They go into Baylor to play the Baylor Bears. Any chance of an upset in this game?
Never know. I mean, you really don't know. Baylor has a good offense, so is Klein healthy?
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to tell you why Kansas State's going to win handily. Baylor's pass defense, 116th in the nation. Against Colin Klein, good luck. It's going to be ugly. I'm going to say like 35-0, something along that range.
35-0.
Oh, it's going to be
I
bad.
agree they win, but Baylor's going to score.
And in the last game, Wake Forest goes into Notre Dame. Notre Dame's last home game of the season. Do the Irish win this game?
Why'd you even pick this game?
Because I'm a Notre Dame fan. We got to get. They're unbeaten. They deserve to be in the picks.
I mean, talk about 35-0. Yeah, that's Notre Dame. See, they only scored 20 against Boston College. How are they going to score against USC?
It's different games, though.
I mean,
But this game, they win. Last home game of the season. This will be their first unbeaten season at home since '98. And they will ride into USC unbeaten in a big game the following week.
by the way, I did guarantee that Boston College wouldn't have a touchdown last week.
Yep.
And I'll guarantee again that Wake Forest won't have a touchdown. And Notre Dame will win with almost the same score as last week. But I'll say 27-3.
I hope you're right. Go Irish. I feel something big's going to happen. Bears-Irish championships. I can feel it.
Nah.
Moving along now, let's get into some NBA. We're going to be pretty soon getting on Brett Boone. We want to finish up NBA, get into a little college basketball, and then we'll call him. Let's get big news in NBA. Of course, it's always the Lakers. They're dominating the headlines all the time. They named Mike D'Antoni head coach, which shocked the crap out of me because I was wanting Phil Jackson. D'Antoni signs a 3-year contract, $12 million, 4-year club option for a 4th year. Mike Brown fired after a 1-4 start. Offense was not working. That Princeton offense, that crappy offense. Do you like this hire?
Do I like it? Or
Yeah, what do you think of it? Is it going to propel the Lakers to a championship contender again?
Okay, what this is showing me is that the Lakers are looking more long-term as far as Dwight Howard's sake is concerned, more than Kobe Bryant, Phil Jackson. Because they could have had Phil if they wanted him.
Yeah, and it's just Phil was being demanding though. He wanted to decide which road games he was going to, which road trips he could do. He wanted control of the roster, and then the triangle offense, like you told me, you can't grasp that overnight.
Right. It's a very difficult offense to learn, and because it would put Dwight Howard on the block, that's not his strength. His post play is not his strength. He feeds off of other people. So D'Antoni is a better fit. Look for him to be more like a Stoudemire Nash type deal when Nash was with D'Antoni in Phoenix.
I agree, and you know what? The only thing that worries me about D'Antoni is his offense is. I mean, they score a lot of points, but the Lakers' defense is so bad and mediocre. I don't know. Is he gonna be a help? Because his teams don't play defense.
That's the myth, Monday. That's the myth but if you look at the Suns teams, they were always in the top half offensively in the NBA. So a lot of people have that myth. I think, plus you have the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant, Lakers will be just fine. A lot better than what they were with Mike Brown, and I was screaming for his job in the preseason, and they finally listened to me.
Yeah, I don't know. 5 games, I still think he got a raw deal. LeBron agreed with me too. But
yeah, LeBron. He couldn't win with LeBron. He couldn't win with Kobe. Come on.
Okay, you hate Mike Brown, admit it. Okay, he'll coach again. He's a recycled coach. NBA always hires recycled coaches, so he'll get a job again. There's no doubt about that.
He's probably a good guy. I have nothing against him.
You hate the guy. All you do is talk bad about him all the time.
I have nothing against him. I just don't like the way he coaches.
Okay.
But from the West Coast, let's go to the East Coast. And
Yep.
my man, Rajon Rondo.
I'm a huge fan of his. I can agree on him.
I know you are, and you were sold on him a lot earlier than I was.
I know. That's shockingly.
You knew he was going to be a superstar, which is what he is. Now, a record, he's going for an NBA record right now. He's got 31 straight games with 10 or more assists. Now, only John Stockton and Magic Johnson, you ever heard of those two guys?
Great company to be in.
Only them two have ever passed it. Stockton's next in line with 37, and Magic has a record with 46. He's 15 games away. But a record that he does have is, within those 31 games, he's got 29 straight games with 11 or more assists, and he passed Stockton, and that's an NBA record.
You know, he has become the face of the Boston Celtics. I know they got Garnett still. They still got Paul Pierce. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, I know you're probably watching the game on Monday night against Chicago.
Yeah.
The last 4 possessions, he was the focal point of the Celtics offense, which in years past he wasn't. So the offense is moving around him in big times, and he is, in my eyes, the best point guard in the NBA. Last year I believe it was Chris Paul. I would take Rondo over Chris Paul if I was starting a team and I needed a point guard.
I would too, but Chris Paul is a much better offensive player than Rondo.
But Rondo makes his players better around him, though, in my eyes.
He does. Like, I would think the Clippers would be better if they had Rondo.
I agree. He would turn them into an instant conference final team. He's great. And I told you back when they were winning their first championship with Garnett and Ray Allen and Pierce, and people were saying, "Oh, is he the right point guard?" And I said, "I believe in this kid. I remember him at Kentucky. He had the tools, and he's gonna be something. He's still young, and he's gonna be the face of your franchise, of your Celtics for a long time."
So Utah's playing Boston tonight. Rondo's got the 31 straight games of 10 or more assists. With 4 minutes to go in the Bulls game, he only had 6 assists. He finished with 10, but the official scorer missed an assist, so that's why it brought him to the 11, and he's got the 29 straight of 11 or more assists, which gave him the NBA record.
Yeah, and
if anyone tries to correct me that he only finished with 10, they changed it.
I don't deny your Celtic knowledge. That I never go against.
All right. Thank you.
But moving along to the college basketball, which is starting to get in high gear. Last night, Duke beat Kentucky, which I loved. I hate Kentucky. I hate John Calipari. He's already acting like a douchebag, saying at halftime that he is.
You
He
hear
is.
what he said?
Yeah, what he said. He's like, oh, they're flopping. I mean, he's just. I mean, it's ridiculous. He said they're flopping. He said they'd be fined if they're in the NBA. But Steph Curry ripped them apart, 23 points. And Duke is, it's not his first game, but it looked pretty damn good last night. What do you think, Fonz?
Yeah, and Calipari's like, if this was the NBA, Calipari is coaching the NBA. People go to Kentucky for 1 year so they can go to the NBA. So I don't know what he's talking about. Coach K will always be a better coach than Calipari, no matter how many great plays he gets. And he outcoached them last night.
Yeah, I agree. He really did. And I still think, it's early in the season, but Duke's going to be a great team. We'll see, though. Kentucky's going to be great, too. I'm not taking away from Kentucky, but the team, how about the number one team in the country right now?
Yeah, Indiana. I can't believe they're number one. They got your boy's brother over there. What's it? Who's their
Zeller?
best player?
Zeller.
I forgot his name. Yeah.
Cody
Tyler
Zeller, yeah. He's a hell of a player.
Zeller. Huh?
He's a hell of a player, Cody. Indiana looks pretty good. How did Bryant College play them? I didn't get that.
Bryant always gets a top school. They played Texas a couple of years ago. That's it. That's all I have to say about Indiana.
Well, they got Jeremy Hollowell and Remy Abel. Those are two key players, and they struggled a little bit against North Dakota State, but they killed Bryant. And Tom Crean has done a lot. He took that program from the bottom up. Calvin Sampson ran it into the ground, and when Tom Crean got there, they were getting beat up by everybody, and now they're number one in the country. And a dangerous basketball team, I think. I don't think they're the best team, no. I still think that Kentucky's going to be there in the end. I still think never underestimate Duke. And what about Connecticut? Kevin Ollie getting them in the top 25 early to start.
They're 2-0. Yeah, they were good. Who's the white boy from Duke who's blocking all those shots?
Oh, I know you're talking about. Jeez. Early in the season, I know you're talking because I was watching the game. I can't remember his last name, but defensively, they look pretty damn good, which is rare for a Duke team. And I just can't stand Calipari. I almost oh my God, he frustrates me so much. Arrogant, D-bag. Jackass.
I don't mind him. After watching that, the All Access with Kentucky, did you see any of that?
Oh, yeah,
yet?
Billy Donovan ripped him. He ripped that show. He's saying he's using it for recruiting.
He's what?
He's using that for recruiting.
I like it, man. Screw Billy Donovan. He's another.
He's a Providence grad. You should love him, man. He took Providence to the Final Four in '87.
Pitino took Providence to the Final Four. Donovan was the point guy. Billy the kid, but
Pitino was great. But I lost a little respect for Pitino when he was coaching the Celtics and he made that whole speech. What did he say? Larry Bird's not coming through the door. Robert Parrish. Buddy, it's like, come on.
They still play that clip on the radio.
Do they? It was just like, yeah. He's a great college coach.
Well, McHale's not coming through that door, and if they do, they're old and gray. What's up with McHale, by the way? He's missing now?
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that guy. I would say one thing, though. When Pitino got hired by the Celtics, everybody was writing that they were going to win the championship.
Well, if they get Duncan, maybe Pitino's still coaching the Celtics.
Should never trade Chauncey Billups. But we're about to get Brett Boone on the phone. I'm a big fan of Brett Boone. He played for the Mariners, 3-time All-Star, I believe 6-time Gold Glove winner. Played for the Cincinnati Reds, third-generation baseball player, brother of Aaron Boone, which I know some of you Red Sox fans listening tonight are probably not a big fan of. And we're going to get him on the phone. Next week, we're going to have Denny McClain on, ex-Detroit Tigers, pitcher, won its 1968 Cy Young. And then the following week, for all you Steeler fans, we're going to have Levon Kirkland on November 28th, which is going to be a big interview. I was a huge Levon Kirkland fan. But right now, we're trying to get Brett Boone on the phone. Before we get him on the phone, I'm going to look at some NFL games for Sunday and Monday. Looking at some of the games next week, we got Indianapolis and New England, which has turned out that's going to be a big game. Andrew Luck goes into New England to play the Patriots. I think the Patriots win this game. I really do believe it. Oh, wait. Getting them on the phone right now. Okay. We'll go back to this. Chicago, San Francisco Monday night's going to be a big game. Like Fawn says, Cutler plays. I like the Bears. If not, I got to like San Francisco in that game, unfortunately. I have to admit that. Tampa Bay, Carolina, big game for the Bucks. They can actually go to 6-4 this weekend, which no one would have guessed when before the season started. And let's see, Green Bay, Detroit. I think Detroit's done. Packers win that game. And looking at some of the other games, tomorrow night we got Miami, Buffalo. Not a big game. Oh, is this Brett Boone on the phone?
Yes. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Boone, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you on. You're on with Talking Sports with CJ and Fonz on SportsSlamRadio.com. Talking to a 3-time All-Star, Brett Boone, 6-time Gold Glove winner, and member of the 2001 Seattle Mariners.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, it's an honor. First, before I introduce you to the show, I want to ask you, what are you doing right now in your spare time? Now, you've been retired since, what, 2007?
Yeah, officially I haven't been on the field since then. I went to spring training with the Nationals in 2008, kind of tried to make a comeback and realized that I was 38, 39 years old, and there's a reason middle infielders don't play that long. So I officially retired in 2008 after spring training. So, yeah. So that's the official date.
Before we get into sports, is it true you're a descendant of pioneer Daniel Boone?
I have no idea. I've been asked that before, and I just say probably.
Just admit to it.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, that's what they have it listed, so if it's true, that's a pretty good genealogy there.
I would just admit it. Well, like I was saying before, you're a third-generation baseball player. Your grandfather, Ray, played from, 48 to 60. Your dad, Bob, was a player and manager. And your brother, Aaron, played for the, of course, for the one known for the Yankees, a home run. We got a lot of Red Sox fans listening tonight, so I don't want to rub that in too much tonight. But I'm going to ask you, describe what it's like being a third-generation baseball player, because you were the first one.
Yeah, obviously you never set out when you're a little kid to you don't know what lies ahead of you. But for me, I just love the game. From an early age, obviously, I grew up in a baseball family. I grew up basically in big league ballparks. You have to go to stadium with Dad, and it's all I knew, and I knew I loved it, and I was passionate about it, and I kind of had a one-track mind. That's all I wanted to do was play baseball. And then as I got closer, and I got drafted out of college and started my professional career, then the question started to come about third generation, and I think I'm very proud of what my family's accomplished, but that was far from why I played this game or my goals. I wanted to be a big leaguer, and the what came with it was nice, but that's more of a tribute to my family. It's nothing that I really ever set out to do.
Do you think you felt a lot of pressure growing up in being a player, or did it come natural to you?
I never felt any pressure at all. I just thought I was predetermined to do this. And when people would say, you've got to live, you feel like you're in the shadow of your father and your grandfather, I never felt that way. I have a tremendous amount of respect for both my grandfather and father for what they had accomplished to that point. But it was kind of more annoying than anything else. It's like, wait a minute, let's talk about me. I'm sick of talking about them. I'm not worried about them. It's like I'm gonna make it on my merits, not my family lineage. So I really never felt that pressure. It was more of, no, I'll get a one-track mind, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the big leagues. I'm going to play for 15 years, and that's the way it is.
And you try to be a great
baseball player. I never felt that I had to live up to anything. And as a credit to my parents growing up, they never, ever made me feel that way. My father was very supportive and would support me in whatever I chose to, whatever path I chose, just happened to be baseball.
And it was a good one to take. And, first I want to get into the 2001 Seattle Mariner team. That was a great team. You, Ichiro, wasn't Mike Cameron on that team, I believe?
Mike Cameron?
Yep, great team. Great baseball team. Lou Piniella, the manager. You guys won 116 games. You beat the Indians in the playoffs, and then you ran into the Yankees in the ALCS. I want to ask you, describe that season, and how hard was it losing to the Yankees in the ALCS that season?
That was a weird year. It was a magical year in many ways. but it was very strange. I mean, I remember going into April and May, back-to-back months, we won 20 games. So we had 40 wins at the end of May, and kind of knew we had something special going. And, I think for us, all year, once we got to the All-Star break and into, oh, sorry. I just got to pick up my kids from Little League.
Oh, that's okay.
So, it's there somewhere, buddy. Okay, it's right there. Hey, I'm on the phone. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's okay.
we got a fourth generation maybe looking for water.
Oh, nice. The Cubs need a good second baseman.
So, all right, where were we? Oh, anyway, that 2001 year, special team. I mean, the best bunch of guys I've ever been around. The camaraderie we had, just it was just one of those years, and we ended up winning 116 games, which there's a good chance we'll probably never see in our lifetime again. But that was the year of 9/11.
Oh yeah.
And I remember down the stretch, it seemed like I'd been in some postseason, so I know what the media and the press is like once you get to the postseason. I mean, there's just hundreds of people in the locker room every day, which is not normal for a day-to-day basis. But that year we were on the pace to break the all-time record for wins in a season. So it seemed like the last 2 months of the season, it was a postseason atmosphere where there was just press, and asking me on a daily basis, you guys are going to break the record, you're going to break the record. We don't know. And as we got closer and closer, and I remember the night we finally did it, I think we were playing the Indians. Mm-hmm. We beat the Indians to go 116. And it was almost like the entire team kind of just took a big sigh and said, wow, it's finally over. We finally did it. But no, wait a minute. We got the postseason to go here, and September 11th hit. And, obviously that was one, the biggest tragedy in our country's history. And, we got back on the field. Because I don't remember that year ever hitting a lull, team-wise. And we hit a little bit of a lull, but we ended up beating the Indians in the first round, and went on to play the Yankees in the next round. And I believe that year, I don't know, you guys can check this, but I think we had swept the Yankees at their place twice.
I remember you sweeping them once. I remember that.
I know we swept them at least once, but we were feeling pretty good about ourselves going into that series. And just as a team, we didn't play that well. I remember the Yankees really didn't play that well either.
No, because they were down to Oakland.
They played a tiny bit better than we did and ended up beating us. And, I look back on that year and just think, everything. I've never been a part of anything like it where it seemed like we won every night. I mean, it would be 8-6, and we'd be losing in the seventh inning, and we'd kind of look at each other like, well, we're going to win this game. And it almost like we walked down the field and the other team knew we were going to come back. It was just one of those magical years. But sitting, we had a reunion last year up in Seattle, and, guys are kind of reminiscing, how did we not win the whole thing that year? Everything was just lining up perfectly for us. But baseball, it's a crazy game, and it just shows you just never know.
And the key of that ALCS, I remember game one like it was yesterday. You guys went against Andy Pettitte, and I think Pettitte had a huge game against you guys in that game one, and it kind of set the tone for that series.
Yeah, he did. And, the experience on the Yankee side obviously is unprecedented at the time with, how many World Series they've been to. I mean, but to on our side of the ledger, we had a tremendous amount of experience, too. We had a very veteran baseball team. We had Edgar Martinez and Johnny Olerud, and, Ichiro was there, Mark McLemore, Mike Cameron. Some guys that really were unsung, but a really big part of that team was Danny Wilson behind the plate and David Bell at third base. We had a young Carlos Guillen playing short. Stan Javier was kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, we just had a great year. The bullpen was set up with Jeff Nelson and Arthur Rhodes were the setup men. Kazuhiro Sasaki was the closer, and we just had a bunch of guys just have career years all at the right time. We just gelled. Lou was great for that team, and that was the funnest year of my life. It was really neat. And I remember during the season just, having a lot of fun with it, but at the same time, at the end of the day, appreciating what we had, because we were kind of looking around at each other and go, this doesn't happen all the time, and we'll probably never see this again. So we did stop and appreciate, what we accomplished in the year that we had.
That would have been great to see Randy Johnson go up against his former team in the World Series. But you finished third in MVP voting. You led the league with 141 RBIs. Was it extra special that it was with the Mariners, the team that you came up with?
I don't know. I don't know if it was extra special. It was extra special, I think, for me just doing it as a part of that history-making team. But I don't know if it was necessary. I think, at that stage of my career, I'd never put up RBI numbers like that. So I was just, I looked at it and, I couldn't, I hit fifth half the year, I hit third half the year, but, those guys in front of me were setting me up for it all day. With the years they were having. So I couldn't have done it without them, but at the same time, I'm a little angry about finishing third.
Well, at least it was your teammate that won. That's what I want to get into next. Ichiro Suzuki, who won the MVP and Rookie of the Year that season. Describe what he brought to that team that season. It was his first year with the Mariners. How did he fit in with the team chemistry?
Ichiro was very interesting when he came to us. In spring training, we're kind of looking around like, is this guy serious with the way he's swinging? I remember in spring training, I don't think he hit a ball to the right side of second base. And I remember Lou being really concerned and thinking, this guy can't even turn on a fastball. These guys are going to knock the bat out of his hand. Well, I think he proved that year that they weren't going to do that, and he had a big year and 200 and whatever hits he got. He was a great part of that team. He fit in very well. When you first meet Ichiro, you kind of know what to think. He knows better English than you think. And he's actually a very funny guy, and he's actually a charming guy. You'll talk to him, and you'll come away laughing all the time. He had a great year at the top of the lineup, set the tone for that team. And he was a huge part. But there were so many big parts of that team. All the guys I mentioned, Edgar had a huge year. Ole had a huge year, and Cameron had a career year that year too. So it wasn't just one guy having a big year and the rest just kind of doing their normal. Everybody had real big years, and I think that's why you don't see 116 wins. You had a starting rotation that didn't get hurt, stayed healthy all year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was Aaron Seeley, Jamie Moyer, who won 20 games, I believe. Freddie Garcia was our number one. And I'm trying to think, maybe Joel Pinheiro.
Yeah, I think Pinheiro was on that team. Yeah, Joel Pinheiro.
And I can't think of the fifth. Can't think of the fifth offhand right now.
It was a great team. Great bullpen, great
team. It was a rotation that great bullpen. We got to the seventh inning if we had a lead, and it seemed like Nelson and Rhodes came in, and then Kazuhiro was money at the end. So it seemed like if we got to the sixth inning with a lead, the game was over. And, more times than not, it was over.
I want to also ask you, in 2003 now, you were with Tim McCarver and Joe Buck when your brother Aaron hit the walk-off in the 2003 ALCS. You remember that whole game, Pedro with Grady Little? Describe the moment when your brother hit the walk-off.
Yeah, I remember the whole series vividly, actually, because I wasn't. Fox called me to do it, and I didn't know it. We'd had a disappointing finish. We won 90-some-odd games, didn't make the postseason. I just kind of wanted to go home and rest. And Fox was calling me and eventually talking me into doing it, and I thought, well, I'll get to see Aaron play in the postseason, so it couldn't be all that bad. And I remember the night before, Aaron was having a real tough series. Couldn't get a hit. I was kind of wanting to come down and help him, but, sometimes you can't help a guy that's scuffling that much. And I remember going into his apartment in New York City the night before, and I could tell he was kind of down. Aaron's a tough kid, but you could tell he was kind of down. He wasn't swinging good. And I remember trying to think to myself, what can I tell him to kind of pump him up for tomorrow? And I kind of gave him the rah-rah speech, and I said, let me tell you, as bad a series as you've had, I said, tomorrow night, you get a big hit, tie the game in a situation, thinking just a base hit. I said, everybody's going to forget and you guys win and go on the World Series, everybody's going to forget how bad of a series you had. So let's look at it that way. I show up to the ballpark the next day, he's not even in the lineup. And I'm going, oh, no. You know, I hope they win so they can move on and get to the next series. And then all of a sudden I see him come on the on-deck circle to pinch hit. And I remember thinking to myself, Timmy Wakefield was on the mound. And, you know, as hitters, we, especially when we're swinging well, the last thing we want to do is have to face a knuckleballer. Because it's like playing wiffle ball. And
oh, yeah.
You don't know where the wiffle ball is going to land, you know. And if you've got your swing working, you never want to face a knuckleballer. But I was thinking to myself, well, at this stage, the way Aaron's swinging, this might be the best thing he could have is a knuckleballer facing him to get him out of this. And, you know, the rest is history. I mean, he hit it, and I just kind of froze, you know. We had talked the night before about just contributing and getting a base hit to maybe get you, you know, driving a run or something. I didn't expect that big of a hit. And I remember just kind of standing there, and, you know, afterwards I got a lot of slack from some, you know, friends of mine that were watching the broadcast. They said, you just didn't even say anything. You were just sitting there. I said, that's how I was feeling. I was kind of mesmerized. I couldn't believe what just happened. You know, because I knew instantly when he hit it, I thought to myself, that's one of the biggest home runs in the history of the game right there.
Oh, yeah, that series was just so fun to watch.
And I was just kind of, you know, I got some chills, and I was just kind of sitting there, and I was so happy for him at the time what he was going through. To come up in that situation and hit a walk-off to send you to the World Series, I mean, it's a dream. And Yankee Stadium, I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that. And I remember just being so happy for him sitting up in that booth. I was kind of speechless. If you replay the tape, you just see me standing there going, you know, but that's truly how I was feeling at the time. And I remember that night, I went to, they had a Yankees-only party at I forget the location in New York City, where it was just players and family. And I walked into the bar, you know, and I don't like being around other teams. You know, at the time I'm a current player, and I don't want to be hanging out with the Yankees. Yeah. So I had to go in there to see my brother, and I remember standing up in the table and giving a toast, and I said, for one night and one night only, I want to say I'm proud to be Aaron Boone's brother. I remember giving a toast and gave him a hug and let him celebrate with his team. And like I said, when you're playing, you don't want to be around the enemy. So I kind of said hi to the guys, and I just kind of got out of there. But that was a special night, and, you know, something that will be played for years to come.
Before the Seattle media could catch you, you got out of there.
I got out of there. Yeah. I got out of there.
Do you see yourself getting into coaching at all?
I would love to. Right now, you know, I've got 4 kids, and they're real active in sports. So you know, it seems like I'm going from one Little League game to the next. I actually coach my 13-year-old. I coach his travel team. My daughter's 16, and she's playing volleyball, so I'm going to her matches. So I'm actually very busy for actually not having a job. You know, I do a little public speaking here and there. But, yeah, I mean, it's what I grew up with. It's what I know best. And I want to get back into the game, and you know, just waiting for the organization that's going to give me an opportunity to see what I can do. But, you know, I think I've got a lot to offer to this game, and I just want to give back, you know, the blessings I've had, being able to play. I want to be able to share that with a young kid and make a difference maybe. And you know, if I can help one kid get to the big leagues or do a better job at it, then I did my job. And, you know, my days are over, but, yeah, I'd love to get back involved. And, you know, like I said, it's what I know. It's my passion. I love this game, and, you know, I want to get back and contribute if I can.
That's awesome. We're on the phone with Bret Boone, 3-time All-Star, member of the 2001 Seattle Mariners. Before I let you go, Bret, I was reading something online that was pretty interesting. Is it true when you were in Seattle, did you have 3 lockers? What's with that story real quick?
Yes, I did. Quite narcissistic of me.
That's awesome.
You know, when I was in Seattle, it was kind of a shtick. You know, everybody looked to me. What was Boone going to do today when he came to the ballpark? So I felt like I kind of had this role to play. It was almost like I was a cartoon character. So of course I had to have 3 lockers, and, you know, the locker next to me, there was they made a, you know, professional little plaque, and it said Boone's guest. It was a guest locker for so, and then in the other locker, because I was kind of a little bit anal about my bats, and I had so many bats that I needed 3 lockers to fill, you know, put my stuff in. And then in the third locker, they made up a name tag that said Boone's Other Guest. And it kind of became a joke that I had the whole corner of the locker room. But, it worked out. We had plenty of lockers. And I think when September rolled around and they expanded the rosters to 40 men, I had to give up one of the lockers. I remember that. But, yeah, I did have that for several years.
Well, you've earned it. You earned it. You were great on the Mariners. Third in MVP voting. You were an All-Star. You got to start at Safeco Field and the All-Star game at second base. And it was just a great Mariner team. They were fun to watch. I was never a Mariner fan, but just great teams to watch. And it's too bad. I really thought 01 was going to be your year to win the World Series. I really did truly believe going into that. Going into the playoffs, I thought you guys were the most dangerous team.
Yeah, and I think so. You look back and we can say, yes, we're the greatest team in the history of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
The stats prove it. I don't know that we were the most talented team of all time. I'm not saying that at all. Everything just meshed on that year. And up until that year, I was never a believer in team chemistry. And, I thought, no, if you're good enough, you beat everybody else. You do it with talent. Well, that year I kind of found out that it is a combination. And some years you just have that special bond with your teammates. And it seems like, I can't really explain it. It's just an aura. When you take the field, you just have that feeling that the other team knows they're going to be beat by you. And it's not something you can recreate or bottle. It's just something, there's no rhyme or reason to it, just sometimes it happens. And, I got to ride that ride for a year, and it was a lot of fun.
Before we let you go, Brett, do you have something you want to plug on our show tonight? Any websites or?
No, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just, like I said, I'm doing some public speaking. But as far as websites and anything like that, nope, nothing to plug.
Well, it was an honor having you on. We'd love to have you again in the future, and it was great to get you on the show tonight, and it was a great interview. It was great for you to bring back that 01 season and get into that with us.
You got it. Anytime. My pleasure, guys.
Thank you, Brett.
All right.
Well, that was Brett Boone, 3-time All-Star on the phone. Great interview, Fonz, like always. Always good, great guests.
The thing that I love about doing interviews like that is you get insight that you don't see on TV or you hear in the news. It's direct from the player,
No, it can be at the party, Yankees party, after the ALCS in 03. You don't get that stuff, and that was a great interview. And the Boone family's done a lot for baseball. They were all...
he'll be in baseball again. His brother's working for ESPN now, so they're going to be around baseball. And probably you'll see a fourth generation Boone in the major leagues one day.
Yeah, and his dad, I believe, I was going to ask him, and I forgot, he got hired by the White Sox, some front office job. I want to say, was he assistant GM, Bob Boone, with the Chicago White Sox or something in front office?
You asked him that.
Yeah, we got so much talking about the Mariners and stuff, and it was good to talk about that team because, that team, they ran into a great Yankee team that year, and I think if they played any other team other than the Yankees in the ALCS, they would have probably went to the World Series and maybe beat the D-backs,
That would have been great, though, to see Randy Johnson pitch in Seattle, Yeah,
you brought that storyline up. That would have been fun. Schilling and Johnson against that Mariner lineup with Ichiro, Brett Boone, Mike Cameron. That was a great lineup. And like he said, the bullpen, I forgot they had Sasaki and, Nelson and Rhodes, and that was a great bullpen that season.
Not because more so because Randy Johnson was facing his former team, And
that was the first year they didn't have A-Rod when he left for money, and they proved A-Rod wrong that this team was going to be great.
They lose A-Rod, Randy Johnson,
Griffey the year before that, 2 years before that,
and Griffey Jr., and they turn out to be the best regular season team of all time. ESPN voted them the best team that never won.
Wow, yeah. We're just about running out of time, Fonz. I want to ask you real quick before we run out of time. I went over a few picks. Let's look at some of the big games for Sunday and Monday. Indianapolis at New England. That turned out to be a big game.
It really is.
Yeah.
You don't know what the Patriots defense is going to do. Historically, Belichick confuses rookie quarterbacks.
We will see.
But Andrew Luck is no ordinary rookie quarterback.
No. Well, we're just about out of time, Fonz. One last thing to say before you're off?
Go 49ers this week.
No, go Colts.
Oh, can't believe I said that. Never mind. I hope it's a 0-0 tie.
We'll see you next week with Denny McClain.